I know that we have some seats that are up here for anyone who is looking for additional seats who's just walked into the room. Alors, mesdames et messieurs, c'est
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a real pleasure to welcome you today to the National Arts Center for the beginning of the symposium about the 50th anniversary of the Official Languages Act.
Delighted to be your MC for these next 2 days for what I know are going to be a series of truly very interesting and stimulating conversations. Before we go any further, je voulais tout simplement
I wanted to stress the fact that we offer simultaneous interpretation everywhere during this symposium. Headsets are available in each room, and they're right at the back, close to the interpretation booth.
Headphones available for the simultaneous translation that's available throughout the symposium in each of the workshop rooms as well. So no matter which of the two languages you speak, you will be able to clearly understand every conversation that we're going to be having over the next few days. Je voudrais aussi, mesdames et messieurs,
I'd like to remind everybody that we meet on the ancestral territory of the Algonquin Nation. During these 2 days, we'll explore the impact of the Official Languages Act on Canadian identity. We'll examine the strengths, the weaknesses, and the opportunities offered by this act.
Future of the Official Languages Act and how we modernize it in order to best reflect our own contemporary Canada. And you know, one of the things that I was noticing this morning when I came in is that for many of us, having French as part of our lives is simply something that we may even take for granted. It's just a fact of our lives. But there are also people in this room and equally people across this country for whom speaking either French or English is a deliberate choice, especially in communities that are predominantly either English or French. I know in our case, for my children, we have chosen to have them educated entirely in French. It is a deliberate choice on the part of the parents for themselves and for the kids. And I think that that's a really interesting part of the conversation that we're having over the next 2 days as well. Now, to get us started, pour ouvrir ce symposium.
Now, to get things started, I would like the Minister of Tourism, Official Languages and Francophonie, the Honorable Mélanie Joly, to say a few words.
With us today, and she'll get us started.
Merci Catherine pour cette gentille introduction. Plaisir de vous voir tous réunis ici. Et bien entendu, j'aimerais commencer par dire à quel point nous sommes contents d'être réunis ici sur le territoire traditionnel algonquin. Tout d'abord, j'aimerais remercier Guy Matt, et la Fondation canadienne pour le dialogue des cultures d'avoir organisé le Symposium. Merci pour le travail acharné à renforcer notre dualité linguistique et en même temps promouvoir notre diversité culturelle et favoriser le rapprochement entre nos communautés. Merci aussi au CNA, au Centre national des arts, un lieu de découverte depuis 50 ans. Oui, le CNA a le même âge que la loi sur les langues officielles. Et c'est un lieu de rassemblement au cœur de la capitale nationale qui célèbre nos artistes, fait vivre nos histoires et qui l'a toujours fait dans nos 2 langues officielles. Et c'est le lieu parfait pour la dernière étape de nos consultations et le dialogue que nous aborderons ensemble. Je suis vraiment émue de vous voir tous ici réunis. Vous savez, il y a 500 inscriptions au Symposium et ça, je pense, de façon générale, ça vaut juste une main d'applaudissements. Merci de vous être déplacés partout à travers le pays et je reconnais plusieurs visages que j'ai vus tout au long de mes voyages au cours des dernières semaines, mais vous me permettrez également de nommer quelques personnes qui sont ici aujourd'hui. Bien entendu, tout d'abord, le commissaire aux langues officielles, M. Théberge, Raymond Théberge, merci d'être ici. Jean Johnson aussi, président de la FCFA. Jeffrey Chambers, who's the president of QCGN, thank you for being here. Sue Duguay, présidente de la FCJF, merci. Et Graham Fraser aussi, ils sont tous réunis à la même table, devant ici, donc ancien commissaire aux langues officielles. Et je reconnais également qu'il y a plusieurs de mes collègues qui sont membres de la Chambre des communes, des députés. Merci d'être ici. Je pense aussi qu'il y a quelques sénateurs, alors merci également d'être ici. Et il y a certains élus provinciaux qui ont fait le voyage jusqu'à à la capitale nationale, alors ça me fait plaisir de vous voir ici. It's now been 50 years of official languages. In 1969, the government of Pierre Elliott Trudeau had the foresight and the vision to put in place the Official Languages Act. When tabling the bill, Prime Minister Trudeau at the time said that the two official languages were not merely a political necessity, but an enrichment. He stated, "We want to live in a country in which French Canadians can choose to live among English Canadians, and English Canadians can choose to live among French Canadians without abandoning their cultural heritage." 50 years later, the people in this room, this institution, and this very discussion are testaments to its brilliance and its enduring success. The Official Languages Act gave us a roadmap to living together in harmony, one that is now woven into the very fabric of this country. Our ability not just to coexist, but to celebrate each other's successes is a remarkable achievement, and I dare say it is a unique Canadian achievement. Aujourd'hui, le Canada est un
Today, Canada is one of the most diversified countries in the world. Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal are among the cities who count the most people who were born outside of the country. This diversity is a real strength for Canada. For such a country to work and to have its differences act as a catalyst means that we have to make sure minorities do not feel threatened and that they're protected when it comes to language rights. We all have a role to play about that, including those of the linguistic majority. Throughout the years, the Act evolved. First, it wanted to establish an equality of the status of the two languages. This was the birth of language rights in the country. Today, we know that the Official Languages Act has a far-reaching scope. It is an act that is quasi-constitutional.
And the reach of language rights have expanded. In 1969, with the first Official Languages Act, individual rights were given to citizens to communicate with their government and receive services in their language of their choice. In 1982, rights extended to education in the language of the linguistic minority and the language of work in federal institutions. Et depuis 1988,
and since 1988, the Act recognizes the responsibility of the government to promote both official languages inside the Canadian society, and the government must also foster the lives of minority language communities and to reduce their risk of assimilation, and also to promote the learning of a second language. The impact of the Act was felt and is still felt throughout the country. I saw it personally during my travels. During the last 3 years and a half, I have had the privilege of traveling in language minority groups throughout the country. To live in a minority setting, you need courage and resiliency, but you do it every day, generation after generation. Some predict assimilation. They have been doing so for centuries, but you hold out. You're strong, you're proud, and my objective as a minister is to be your ally. The five official languages was justified for me in the beginning, but you heard me speak often, and you know now it's a passion for me, and it's a real mission.
The need to reaffirm language rights. Aujourd'hui, on voit l'émergence de plusieurs gouvernements.
We see the emergence of several conservative governments who make cutbacks in language institutions. They believe that the market will defend language rights. We could see the effect of it after the coming into power of Doug Ford in Toronto, when he chose to eliminate the I would like to salute the exceptional work of the former Commissioner to French Services, Mr. Boileau. At the same time, before that threat, you all gathered your strength. On December 1st of last year, we were all Franco-Ontarians. People got engaged to denounce, to speak out against that injustice. The modernization of the Official Languages Act is necessary to make sure that the federal government will keep on defending language right minorities. It's at the heart of the mission of our government. We want to defend language minorities against governments who do not respect their obligations to protect them. That's why the present Prime Minister gave me the mission of examining the Official Languages Act. Our society evolves. The number of Francophones increases at a slower pace than the general population. Digital technologies have their effect on work everywhere.
In regions have challenges in terms of access to services and employability. They also have real threats against one of their most fundamental institutions, namely their own English school boards. A recent study by the Mowat Center confirms that official bilingualism has the support of 82% of Canadians. At the same time, in many provinces and territories, we see kids being refused access to immersion programs because there aren't enough spaces. So we leave it to chance, lottery systems sometimes, to determine which kids will get the chance to become bilingual. En même temps, alors que 80...
At the same time, while 88% of Francophones want their children to learn English, only 67% of Anglophones show a preference for French. This can be explained, of course, by the interest for other languages, Mandarin, among others. But it shows also a certain complacency. The review of the Act is therefore necessary. From the beginning, we proposed some solutions with a new action plan on official languages, with a historical investment of $2.7 billion over 7 years. But beyond that, we have to review the language framework. We want to strengthen the Act to increase its reach. During the last few months, we've listened to you, and we're still listening to you. Your ideas are still welcome, and this symposium is the last phase of our consultations. I'm happy to see that throughout the country, you answered the call of the government to make sure that the official languages of the country will be a priority. In the coming weeks, I will share with you what we heard in our consultations, in which took part hundreds of Canadians in 17 cities, from Moncton to Hemingford, from Vancouver to Whitehorse. In conclusion, I would like to say this. As a French-speaking Quebecer, born a decade after the coming into force of the Act and after the Loi 101 in Quebec, I saw how the French language evolved in my province and my country. As many people of my generation, at school, in our neighborhoods, we saw young people from everywhere with whom we shared the French language. This reality allowed us to evolve in Quebec with a certain feeling of linguistic security, with a feeling that we were a majority of French speakers. Because of that, we tend to forget the threat of assimilation for Francophones elsewhere in the country, as if we got lost sight of the others. The recent attack against Francophonie in Ontario created a wave of solidarity throughout the country and in Quebec. For the first time, the green and white flag of the Franco-Ontarians floated before the National Assembly in Quebec. More than ever, it is the right time to act. So I call upon Quebecers. It's time for us to rebuild bridges and to defend and promote together the acts of language minorities and to defend French in the country. We have to work together for Acadians, Franco-Ontarians, Franco-Saskatchewaners, and all language minorities in Canada. Their own successes will be our successes.
I can assure you that all of us, defending language minority rights with you, understand the power and necessity of having strong, vibrant institutions that are at the core of our community's livelihood and success. We will always be there at your side to protect them. Les langues officielles ont été reconnues.
Official languages were recognized. They must never be taken for granted. We must always celebrate them.
Préoccupations et de vos idées. Et nous sommes à vos côtés. Demain soir, dans le cadre de mes fonctions en tant que ministre en charge de la francophonie, je me dirigerai vers Paris pour rencontrer la secrétaire générale de l'Organisation internationale de la francophonie. Je lui parlerai de la force de notre dualité linguistique, de notre bilinguisme. Bref, je lui vanterai vos mérites. Il nous faut, ensemble, s'assurer de permettre de défendre le fait français partout à travers le monde et de permettre un rayonnement du français dans toutes les sphères de nos vies, de l'Amérique à l'Europe, en passant par l'Afrique. Inspiré par notre symposium, j'irai non seulement au nom du gouvernement, mais je lui transmettrai haut et fort.
But I will transmit loud and clear the voices of the millions of Francophones who are proud to speak the language of our country. Thank you for being here, celebrating the 50 years of French, of bilingualism in our country.